Hey, mama friend. Welcome back to another fun episode of the Mama Mindset. And as always, I'm your host and creator, Amy Cawthorn. I feel like I need to come up with a new intro or something more fun than the same thing every time, but you do what you know. So I keep doing the same one. But welcome back. If you haven't joined me before and this is your first time, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here and listening to me and hoping I can offer some words of wisdom and some help for stay-at-home moms who are struggling, stay-at-home moms that are new to this gig, stay-at-home moms that have been doing it for a while and just need some entertainment and a little bit of maybe motivation and energy. So maybe just a feeling of solace too, knowing that we're kind of all in this boat together and we're all trying to figure it out. And when we do figure it out, we're constantly pivoting and changing. So I hope you enjoy the show. And if you find value in this show, I just ask that you share this with another mama friend. The other way that you can help me by providing this free content to you is by going on to iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Believe it or not, those actually do really matter in me bringing guests on the show. They look at those and see how many reviews does she have? How many ratings does she have? Are they positive ratings? A lot of times if they look at the ratings and they only see that, 4 people have rated and reviewed it, even though we're approaching 5,000 downloads, which is amazing. My ratings and reviews are still incredibly minimal. So I get turned down a lot for having guests on the show, which is understandable. So we need to show them that there is a lot of people out here that are listening to this. And that happens by you sharing this with friends, sharing it on your Instagram page. Super, super easy to do so. You just take a screenshot and share it to your stories, tag me in it, share it on your page, tag me in it. I would absolutely appreciate it. I'd also, like I said, love the ratings and reviews so that I can bring you more quality content and bring bigger and bigger people on the show. I'm really excited about some upcoming episodes that I have recorded, some interviews with incredible people. So yeah, that being said, thank you so much for listening today. Today's episode is actually catered directly to, I want to speak directly to anybody interested in becoming a new stay-at-home mom or people who have just recently transitioned into being a stay-at-home mom, excuse me. So kind of people that are new at it. And I have 6 things. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I really wanted to narrow it down to my biggest pieces of advice for anybody kind of joining this new phase of their life. And I tried really hard to narrow it down to less than 6. I kind of wanted like 3 to 5, but I just couldn't figure out how to get rid of any more than the 6 that I came up with. This is an episode I've been working on for a while, just in my mind, and this all comes from people that I've talked to and lessons that I've learned. And then I've talked to people later and realized these are all things that they've struggled with as well. So my first biggest piece of advice, and this is especially for people who haven't quite transitioned into stay-at-home mom life, but they're interested in it. And I think I've mentioned this in other episodes before, but it's incredibly, incredibly important. I feel like it's sort of the foundation for you having a healthy environment, and that's creating a budget. And if you want to dive deeper in that, honestly, getting out of debt is super important to leading a relaxed role as a stay-at-home mom. You're going from 2 incomes to 1 income. And I understand the struggles with that, but creating a budget is really one of the most important steps. By creating a budget, you open up the dialogue to your finances within your home and figure out what is a need, what is a want, where should we be spending money, where do we want to be spending money. Just by sitting down and creating that budget with your husband, with your partner, opens up that dialogue to a very, very healthy financial relationship with each other. And like I said, I just feel like that's a very important foundation. Brad and I both did this. So I'm not, just so you know, all of these things that we're talking about, I'm not just speaking from the backseat. Like, I'm speaking to you from personal experience. Like, this is what we have done. And I know to my core this is what's helped us because we have gone off route and not ran our household on a budget, and it's caused problems. Okay. So I have both sides. I have the side where we prepared ourselves for me to shift into being at home from 2 incomes to 1. And I hear people say this all the time. I don't think we can afford it. Well, how expensive is the car that you're paying for? How you just need to take a look at your finances and say, do I need this? Is this an actual need or is this a want? Like, can we get by without it? Can we go on less trips? It does take a little bit of, I would say, sacrifice in a sense, but really it's not a sacrifice. That's an investment into a better lifestyle, into the lifestyle that you truly desire. So budgeting. So also, you might want to grab a piece of paper and a pen and just write these down, or you can go back and listen to it. But sometimes it's helpful for me to just write them down as I go. So creating a budget, opening up that dialogue between you and your husband, incredibly, incredibly important. Okay. Number 2, it's okay for you to still have childcare. If you're transitioning out of a career or a job into being at home and the kids maybe have already been in daycare, it's okay for them to have some sort of childcare. Maybe it's not daycare. Maybe it's a family member that's staying with them or a friend that's staying with them. However that looks for you, I just want you to know, I'm not telling you you have to do this or you should do this, but I'm just telling you it's a big transition to leave a career and go into being a full-time mom. And I want you to know that it's absolutely okay for your child, however many you have, to still be in childcare. Maybe it's 2 days a week. I did it. I know a lot of friends that have still done that. I have a friend that's transitioning out of her career right now into being a full-time mom. And that was one of the first things I told her. It is okay for you to leave your daughter in childcare 1 to 2 days a week. And I'm not going to judge you, and fuck whoever else does decide to judge you, because we just don't live in this era where we have a lot of support. We don't have a village anymore. And if part of your village is childcare, whether that's daycare and you put that in your budget, whether that's, like I said, a family member or a friend, and maybe you switch on and off. You watch her kids one day and she watches yours the other. Depending on what season of life you live in, that may be a day that you get projects done. That may be a day that you do all of your grocery shopping and run all of your errands out of the house kid-free. Maybe that's a day that you take a rest, take a nap. If you're pregnant and if you have multiple kids at home, girlfriend, you're going to want to rest. And that's okay. It doesn't matter what you do in that time. Secondly, with that, you don't need to justify it to anybody. You don't need to say, like, I was just talking to a girlfriend about this the other day too. Like, when I was doing this, I felt like I needed to justify why I was dropping my kids off. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. It's going to be wonderful for me to go do my grocery shopping by myself. Girl, you don't need to do that. You unapologetically drop your kids off and leave. And that's it. There doesn't need to be a dialogue of why, as a stay-at-home mom, you can't do this all yourself, because that's bullshit. It's dumb. I just drop them off, walk out the door and go, and do what you need to do. Do what you need to do, and also do what you want to do. Okay. So budget childcare, it's all okay. The third thing is a walk. Any form of outdoor exercise, just getting outside, whether that's in the garden. But I really, really, really believe in the power of a walk. And I know you're probably like, Amy, you're shoving this down our throat. And it's because I really, really believe in the power of a walk with your children. Please go for a walk. At the minimum, get outside every single day. Get some vitamin D, get some fresh air, get away from all of your obligations within the house, all of the things that just become mundane and repetitive and overwhelming. And I start to get claustrophobic, like almost anxiety, claustrophobic, just being in my house all the time. And if I have a bad day and I look back and I'm like, oh, I didn't go outside today. Like, no wonder I feel like I can't breathe and I can't just relax, because I haven't gone outside in nature and just been away from all of it. And it is amazing, amazing, not only what that does to you, but also what that does for the kids. So this isn't just for you, although this is a podcast that talks directly to moms, but it's also for your children. It's so good for you and them to get outside, go for a walk, take a girlfriend on a walk with you, ask another mom if they want to go. I don't always have that option. We walk by ourselves most of the time. But when I do have another girlfriend that goes with me, it's really, really fun to just kind of get away from the house and do that. We have the ability to just walk right by the house. And when we lived in Lewiston, we actually did the same a lot too. We just walked around the block. So get out, whatever that looks like. So number 4, write down your expectations and your vision for what you want it all to look like. Okay. What are your expectations? And maybe you don't need to write it down, but take some time, maybe on your walk, take some time. Don't put earbuds in. Don't listen to anything. Don't check your phone. Just think about what are my expectations for being a stay-at-home mom? This can happen before you even go home, like before you even transition out of a career, or this can happen if you are home. What are my expectations for my life and for my family's life with me being at home? And then what I want you to do is I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to cut it in half. I want you to tear that piece of paper in half, because your expectations, especially if you have very, very young children, cut it in half. You're going to go into stay-at-home mom life as a new stay-at-home mom with your expectations through the roof, because you've watched and observed other stay-at-home moms and you have this idea for what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, and what you want to do. And it's not realistic. It's just not. I am not condoning laziness. I'm not condoning you doing nothing. Please don't get this wrong. But what I am saying is you're not going to week 1 jump into being a stay-at-home mom and bake a perfectly beautiful loaf of bread. You're not going to go plant an entire garden. You're not going to have all of the laundry done. You're not going to have all of the cleaning done. There's some people that are like, I really want to get all these projects done now that I'm at home. I want to get all the dusting done and et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's not all going to happen in the first week. That's not all going to happen in the first month. Okay. You're not going to cook perfect, beautiful home cooked meals within that first week. Take that expectation, take that vision and cut it in half. Those can be goals. Okay. Those can be goals. A vision for your long-term expectations is okay. But what's going to happen right now, your reality is that vision cut in half. I'm speaking from experience here. When I started out, I was like, I'm going to be the fit mom. I'm going to do all these workouts. I'm going to cook all these beautiful home cooked meals. My kids are going to be perfect. They're going to sleep in and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to learn to bake bread and, all these things. Well, I'm 7 years into this and I'm still working towards my vision of what I want my household to look like and what I want my life to look like. Still to this day, 7 years later, still trying to figure all this shit out. Okay. But I have goals and that's okay. But if I went into that first week, which I kind of did, I did, and it created burnout and this total feeling of failure. I went into it thinking I'm going to do all this stuff. Like I went into it that first week, expecting my life to look like what it does now. Okay. Holy shit. That was like a rude awakening. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm really encouraging you to understand and know you need to take it slow. You're not going to be able to do all of those things. You have to transition for yourself and understand what you're capable of within that time. And like I said, I'm not trying to take away any goals that you have long-term, but just know that in that short term, you need to cut that in half or more. Okay. Just slowly transition into it. Take it day by day. Try new things. That's all right. But don't do it all at once. Don't jump in all at once because you're going to get burnt out. You're going to end up overdoing it and you're going to end up feeling like a failure. And I don't want that for you, because what you're doing is amazing. Just by being home and taking that first step is amazing. So just give yourself some time to develop a life, to create a life. And that happens over time. It doesn't happen right away. Number 5. So we're on number 5. It's not about checking the boxes on your to-do list. Okay. So that kind of ties in a little bit to the expectation side of things, but it's not about the to-do list when you're at home. A lot of people, the first thing that I hear is, oh, I have so many projects I want to get accomplished. What happens if you can't get those projects accomplished? You end up again feeling like you failed, that you haven't succeeded at being a stay-at-home mom because you haven't done all the things that you sought out to do. And the reality is a stay-at-home mom's full-time job is really, especially when the kids are super young, is to take care of the needs of the kids first. And at the end of the day, there really truly isn't an abundance of time to do very much else. Like 1 or 2 things here and there is great. But if at the end of the day, all you've done is ensure that the kids are fed, they have maybe learned something, or just they've stayed alive. Let's just be honest, like they've stayed alive. You've taken care of whatever needs it is that all comes down to keeping them alive. If that's really all you've got accomplished, that's a huge accomplishment. That's a full-time job right there. So it's not about the list. It's not about the projects and checking things off of the boxes in order to lead a successful and happy life as a stay-at-home mom. So what it is it's about connection. It's about connecting with your children. It's about connecting as a family. If at the end of the day, I have got nothing done on my quote to-do list, I've done no projects whatsoever, maybe I've just barely kept up with the things that I need to do, like the dishes, and I fed them, and maybe I got a load of laundry done that day. And this is especially true if you have a newborn. Okay, this is especially true if you have young children. If at the end of the day, I have done none of those things, but I have been very intentional at least once or twice with the kids and connected with them, I feel like $1,000,000. I feel like I have been very successful as a stay-at-home mom because I've had joy and the children have had joy, and we've lived a good life that day. We've lived a beautiful life that day. And a lot of times for us, it means going for a walk. Okay. Getting out of the house and doing something. For me, if we get out of the house and do something for fun, at the end of the day, if I haven't checked anything off of my to-do list, I feel like I've really had a great day. I feel like I've really accomplished something. So it's not about checking the boxes. It's not about the to-do list to be successful at home, to be fulfilled at home. It's about connection. It's about connecting with them. And I guarantee you, if you connect with your kids in an emotional, positive way in that day, you will feel like a successful person. You will feel like a successful stay-at-home mom. Okay. Lastly, find your own cozy. Okay. This kind of goes into the expectations aspect of all of it as well. So some of these all kind of tie in together. I think you can see that. So that's why it was really hard for me to break these down into less than 6. So the last one is to find your cozy, not somebody else's cozy, not the cozy that you see on Pinterest, not the cozy that you see on Instagram, not my cozy. Don't take my cozy and what I'm doing in my life, try to apply it to yours and expect to have the same results. I want you to find your cozy. What is cozy to you a lot of the times is something that was cozy to you in the past. What would your inner 5, 7, 9-year-old child love? What did you love to do? Was it reading? Was it cuddling up to the heater? Was it, laying in bed with your stuffed animals? Was it playing Barbies, like, and having a space to play Barbies? What was cozy to you as a child? And what's cozy to you now as an adult? Is it lighting candles just because you love to see the candles, not even because they smell good. This behind me right here, if anybody's watching this on YouTube, it's not even a scented candle. I just love having candles lit that don't even smell. It actually brings me more coziness to have just the little bit of flickering flame that doesn't have any scent to it, because the scent sometimes is overpowering, but that is my cozy. Sometimes people love pumpkin spice. We're going into fall, so I'll just throw that out there, especially with it being candle season. Find what is cozy to you. Okay. Your environment is incredibly important to how you feel throughout the day. You want to have an environment that you enjoy being in. Say you have an office. Okay. When I was working in human resources, we moved into a brand new building. And I got my own office, which I was like, woohoo, like I've made it to the top. And then I left my career. But I felt so cozy in this office because I took the time to make it cozy. I brought things from home. I brought pictures from home. I brought things that made me feel good and colors that were motivating and inspiring to me. And, when we moved into this house, I found things that are cozy to me and make me feel good. But somebody might look at that picture and be like, mm, I don't like that. Like I don't enjoy that. That's kind of ugly. Why did you put that there? And cozy sometimes is really about functionality. Okay. It's not always about the Pinterest perfect, the magazine perfect home. Find a cozy and environment for you that you can live in, that you can work in, because this is your job. Your kitchen needs to be cozy to a point where it's okay to be in the kitchen. You can function and flow in being in the kitchen. And that's why putting the dishes away, getting the dishes out of the sink and those kinds of things create cozy, because you can be in the kitchen. You can do things in that space. The kitchen for stay-at-home moms, I mean, whether or not you like to cook, it just seems like that as a family is where you surround yourself. That is where everybody is. You congregate in the kitchen or at the dining room table. So creating spaces that you can work in, that you can live in. Do you have the piano? If you have a piano in your house, do you have it set up in a space where it's inviting for the kids to come and play? Do you have books out in a cozy space where the kids can come and read? Do you have, you know, cozy furniture? Like, for example, I have little, very inexpensive floor pillows for the kids because they were always pulling off my throw pillows, which, let's be honest, they're not throw pillows, they're floor pillows. I don't know why we have decorative pillows on our couches as stay-at-home moms, because they always end up on the ground and we're always picking them up and turning them over and just screwing with them, messing with them, fluffing with them. But I got the kids their own little cushions for the floor so that they can congregate around my coffee table and they can color. And if you haven't listened to my $20 coffee table episode, go back and listen to that episode, because you'll understand a little bit more of this cozy feeling that I've been talking about. Like, I don't spend a lot of money on things because I want them to be functional. The coffee table in my living room looks very cute. It's a little bit rustic. It has some flaws. I got it for $20 and the kids can all sit around it and color and craft and do whatever. We can, have spills on it if we have snacks in the living room while we're doing tea time for school or whatever. Like, it's okay because I'm not fretting about it. So create your own cozy. I'm such a proponent of creating that atmosphere and that environment that you're in every day. It's so important for you to create that environment that you're in every day to be something that you can live in, that you can be in. And that might be less stuff. This can go into a whole other project really for you, but look at it from your perspective and see, like, is it okay if I have a lot of things on the wall and it's a little bit cluttered and, we have kind of books scattered out. And if that is cozy to you and that's inviting to you and that works for your family, then do that. If having less things in your environment fills you up and creates a sense of cozy, then do that. Our family personally is a little bit in between. We don't live like a minimalist lifestyle, but I can tell when things aren't cozy because we have too much stuff going on. We have too many things out. We have too many things on the wall. I have too many things just set up, and I'll go through and just really, really declutter and get rid of things. But I still like a few things on the wall. I still like a couple of little decorative pieces that are meaningful to me and are inspiring to me. So find what works for you though. Maybe that's not yours, but I just really believe that environment is incredibly important to us. So just a recap of those 6 things, we have: create a budget. Childcare is okay in the meantime. Like I did childcare. I don't know if I mentioned that. We did keep the kids in daycare so I could kind of transition out of being a full-time career, working full-time, to being at home. We kept them in daycare for a while. Then we moved out here and I knew the woman very well that had an in-home daycare. She was my daycare provider. She's more like family than she is daycare. And so we transitioned the girls into that 1 to 2 days a week while I was doing some work or projects or whatever I wanted to do, honestly. And then it hasn't been until the last couple of years that we just haven't done any daycare at all, because I'm in a good place. Like I don't need them to go. They're getting a little bit older. Like that's okay. It's just the season of life. That's a season of life we're in. So for about, I would say, yeah, almost 5 years, the kids were in some kind of daycare or childcare. So budget childcare, go for a walk, get outside, write down your expectations, cut them in half. Okay. Lower your expectations, have goals for how you want your life to look, keep at those goals, but lower your expectations, cut them in half. And then it's not about checking the boxes. It's about connection. It's about your relationships with your children. Lastly, find your own cozy. Find your cozy, not my cozy. Find your cozy in your environment. So I hope this helps you today as either an upcoming stay-at-home mom or a new stay-at-home mom, to just understand, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. These were 6 things that I learned the hard way, like the real hard way. Tears, like emotional overload, overwhelm, feelings of failure, negative self-talk, like all of these things, like flat fucking failing is how I felt I was doing and living my life. And in reality, it was just because I was doing too much and I was trying to take on too much. And I had all of these unrealistic expectations in the beginning that they just weren't going to happen. But a couple of things that we did do right though was budgeting, and getting outside. So learning through the hard way, I hope that this helps you not learn quite so hard as I did. I hope this gives you a little bit of a jump. 6 things to kind of revert back to when you're feeling like you're a little bit lost or you're struggling or you're not sure how to transition into being a stay-at-home mom, or how you're doing right now as a stay-at-home mom. These are just 6 things you can always refer back to. So let me know if you have any questions on this today. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to share any stories and talk to you one-on-one too about any of this. I'm absolutely an open book, as you can tell by the podcast. I just believe in growth through vulnerability, and through my struggles and my trials and tribulations, I hope to help you. I hope to sort of be a mentor to you and help you along in your journey as a stay-at-home mom, because I didn't have that. I didn't have that for myself. And I just feel like we all need to stick together and, link arms and pull each other along, because this role that you have, this role that you're choosing or looking into choosing to do is so important, and it's so beautiful, and it's so challenging. And if we can all, like I said, link together, link arms, stay together, I feel like we'll thrive. I feel like we'll just raise these beautiful humans and really, really improve our communities. And it starts at home. It starts with us. So thank you so much for listening today, sweet mama. I look forward to talking to you again soon.